Hello, you're watching Saints Live with me, Kenzie Benali.
And me, Steve Forbes.
Welcome along to a gloriously sunny St Mary's Stadium for the Premier League contest between Southampton and Chelsea. Now, Chelsea will be looking to regain some form after 2 defeats in just 4 days, and the Saints also looking to get back to winning ways as well, of course. Looking forward to today. And with us throughout the afternoon is former Saints captain Dean Hammond and NBC's lead soccer writer Joe Prince Wright. Welcome both, great to see you as always. And Dean, the sun's shining.
Yeah, I was just saying to you both, the pitch looks magnificent in the background. I'm sure there'll be a brilliant atmosphere at St Mary's today. And yeah, it's that time of the season now where the sun comes back out, and I'm sure the players can enjoy their football. So looking forward to the game today.
Yeah, we're very much looking forward to it as well. Joe, excited for kick-off?
I am. Big game. I feel like there's a big game atmosphere there at St Mary's today, and I feel like Saints have got a big performance in the locker. So yeah, really looking forward to this one, and great to be back with you guys.
Excellent. It was lovely to see you both again. And we will have the team news coming up in around about 15 minutes' time. But what we know so far is that Armando Broja is ineligible to play because Chelsea are his parent club. Also, Shane Long picked up a knock against Leeds, so he's a doubt for the game. But Lianco has been back in training, so there is a potential that he could feature today. So, Dean, given all of that information, how do you expect the lineup to be this afternoon?
I think to start with, there'll be a change of shape, Steve. I think we'll go back to the 4-2-2, which has been so effective and rewarding for Southampton this season. If you look at Chelsea over the last 2 games since the international break, they've not been at their best. They've been a little bit vulnerable defensively, conceded 7 goals in the last 2 games, which is very unlike those. So I think pace, power, and being brave from Southampton today can cause Chelsea a lot of problems. So I would like to see Stuart Armstrong come back into the team with his creativity and the way he can carry the ball from defensive positions into attacking positions. Adam Armstrong, with his clever movement, his explosive power and his pace, I think can cause this Chelsea defence some problems. And I'd like to see Nathan Tella come back in the wide area as well. I just think pace today against this Chelsea team can cause them problems. And if Southampton can press and be brave, like I say, and try and take the game to Chelsea, I think there'll be opportunities today. So for me, I think the 3 changes will be the shape, definitely. But Stuart Armstrong, Adam Armstrong and Nathan Tella coming back in the team could be a very, very attack-minded, brave team. And I'd like to see that today personally.
Joe, what are your thoughts on this then? What lineup are you expecting Ralph to go with today?
I could see a change of formation, but maybe even to a 3-5-2. I think that's worked quite well against Chelsea in the second half of the league game at Chelsea, and then see the League Cup game as well. And Thomas Tuchel highlighted that midweek during his chat with the press and said, Saints can either do the high pressing like Dean mentioned there in the 4-2-2-2 and how well that works and how well oiled that machine is, but then they can, I think, go toe-to-toe with teams who play 3 at the back and almost go man for man all over the pitch and back themselves to win those individual battles and press high. And I think it's all about making Chelsea uncomfortable today. So picking a team that does that, whether it be Nathan Tella, as Dean mentioned, or Adam Armstrong, players with pace who can really get in amongst Chelsea's back 3 if it is, or even if it's a back 4. They like to have time on the ball at the back, Chelsea. And I think where they've struggled against Saints in recent meetings is when Saints put the pressure on them early and just put them off their stride and knock them out of the tempo of their games. So, yeah, there's a lot of options. Of course, not many injuries. Great to see Lianco coming back. I think it might be a bit early for him potentially to start a game, but there's a lot of options there for Ralph. So I think this is the perfect time of the season now to maybe even have one eye on next season and give some players an opportunity to say, you know what, here's your chance, show what you can do for the next 5-6 weeks of the campaign. So could be anything, but I think Dean and I are probably expecting a bit of a formation change today.
Well, Dean, there is going to be a space available up top in the absence of Armando Broja. How big an opportunity could it be for Adam Armstrong to stake a claim if he's selected today?
Huge opportunity, and I think he deserves it, Steve, if I'm honest. He's been very, very patient. It's his first season at the football club. It's his first season back in the Premier League. We know the quality he's got. He's shown that earlier in the season. I think he scored 2 Premier League goals this season. Both have been spectacular goals. On the opening day of the season against Everton, his goal against Aston Villa, we're seeing from the highlights his movement and his pace cause teams at this level real problems. If you ask him, I expect he would have expected a little bit more from himself. But I think to be fair to Adam, when at the start of the season, when he was playing consistently, Southampton weren't quite as creative, weren't quite creating as many opportunities as they are now. So he's had to be patient. But I was really impressed with his performance against Man City, even though he got into some really good opportunities and potentially snatched at the opportunities. I really enjoyed his movement, his pace, his willingness to run in behind. So I really like Adam Armstrong, and I think he's going to be an excellent signing for the football club. He's 25 years of age, so he's not even in his prime yet. It's a good investment from the club. He's a little bit different to Shay Adams and Brozier. And again, they've had an effect on his performances this year because they've been so effective together. The relationship that they've built up, the performances that those two have put in. So there's 8 games left. I think if Adam could get a few goals between now and the end of the season, could play consistently, that he can set himself up for next season. So that's quite important as well. So I would like to see him play just because of his performance against Man City. I thought he was very, very good.
Well, let's bring the fans into the conversation, shall we? We've got a comment here from JB on YouTube. He says, have a strange feeling that we'll pick up 3 points today. Adam Armstrong has to start. And Joe, I suppose the other possibility, though, is Nathan Teller up top. He, of course, came off the bench ahead of Adam Armstrong last Saturday. If indeed Ralph does choose to select him, what does he bring to the side?
He brings something that all defenders hate, and that's pace. Just extreme pace. He stretches the defenders, he stretches the game, and I think that just creates space for Saints' other forwards, Shay Adams, Stuart Armstrong, and Al Yunusi and behind. And I think he could do a job against Chelsea today, because if they look at their defeat to Real Madrid in midweek, Vinicius Jr. there on that left flank really caused them a lot of problems and dragged defenders all over the place. So I think Nathan Teller, as we're seeing here, wonderful somersaults and wonderful celebrations, but we haven't seen that many goal celebrations from him. That's the only thing I think he can potentially improve on. He's still young, he's still learning, gets into some great positions, but I think that composure and being comfortable in the final third, that's the thing he really needs to work on, because 2 goals in his career now and just nearly 40 appearances for Southampton's first team. I think that's where he needs to improve, and I prefer him probably to be as one of the number 10s and the narrow number 10s or the wingers, whatever you want to call them, rather than having him up top. But I can see why he might start up top to create space for others to get into. But it's great to see him fit, right, guys? I mean, he's got a great smile. He's always seems to be a great character, brings energy to the entire team. So it's a big boost that he's back in the squad. But Ralph, I don't envy his choices. He has so many options, especially in that attacking third of the pitch, the number 10s. So Teller is a fan's favourite. They love his effort, commitment, his pace, as I said. I think now is the time for him to get a good run of games, like Dean mentioned with Adam Armstrong, take his chance, and then take the chances on the pitch as well when they come to him and put the ball in the back of the net. So yeah, what a great prospect. And I think it would show as well for the academy lads coming through that the pathway is well and truly open to the first team.
Yeah, very much so. Well, before we move the conversation on and draw ever closer to that team news, let's have a look back at last weekend's draw against Leeds.
Good afternoon, everybody. After a fortnight's break, the Premier League is back. It's going to be sent in left-footed to the back post. Free header wide.
You should have scored.
Yeah, Brozier, but now Livermento's got it. He puts it in and Adams slips, but he sets it up and the shot fired by Elianusi straight at the keeper. Now, this corner from the left will be whipped in low to the near post, and in the end it's still not dealt with, and Saints have to clear it. It comes off the line, shot comes again, goal goes in, not going to count, and now Brozier will run the defender, and he's dragged down, and surely that's a foul. Now click down the right for Leeds, in an advanced position. Inside him he's got support from Rafinha, and he gets it back off a ricochet, and he can't keep it in. Oh, can he? And the tap from Forster, and it's not dealt with. And the referee and the linesman, no one puts the flag up.
It looked as if it was a body check up here for me on the halfway line.
That's what Saints
Brozier
managed to hold him off and get it. He finds Romeu. Clever ball from Romeu. Adams turns brilliantly. Oh, what a save from Meslier to stop Saints equalising. He's left of centre, he's about 3 yards from the box, right-footed, curls it and past Meslier, and he does deliver. The Southampton captain to the right of the keeper, and Stuart Dallas can attack and threads a great ball to Gelhardt down the left. He's cross-blocked, shot comes in, punched away by Forster, who clashes with his own defender. Saints have stopped the rot.
Highlights there of the 1-1 draw against Leeds last weekend. And Dean, while that match will probably be remembered for the free kick that Prowsey took, we saw Ibrahima Diallo playing a more advanced role. What did you make of him in that match, and how do you see his potentially going forward in a more attacking capacity?
I think he's got a lot of potential as a player, to start with. I think he did okay, Steve. I don't think that's his most natural position from the left-hand side as he played against Leeds. He's definitely a central midfield player. We've seen from his performances last year especially that how effective he can be. But he did okay, and he can play in that position. He's got that versatility. And he's up against stiff competition in James Ward-Prowse and Ora Romeo, who are both individually performing very, very well, and as a partnership they're very good. But he made some very good runs. I mentioned it after the game that he almost created opportunities. You can see from his running behind there, he has that pace, he has that energy and that fitness, and that ability to put a good ball across the box. This pass with the outside of his foot is fantastic. That's really good vision and very unfortunate. Good defending by the Leeds defender, but that is excellent. And I think he can bring that centrally. I think that's where he's different from James and Oriel, where he breaks from midfield. He's got that energy, he's got the legs, and he can dribble with the ball and make more space. So I think naturally he'll have to be patient and bide his time. But I think he's more centrally, and I think he'll be, again, the recruitment of Southampton has been very, very good. I think he's going to be a good player for the club, but he's going to have to bide his time. I think when you're younger in your career, he's 23 years of age, he's still very, very young, and he's got 2 players ahead of him that he can learn from so much in training. He can learn from in games. So when he gets those appearances in the Premier League, it's very important for him to adapt and learn. And when he gets that opportunity, which will come, to take it and try and stake a claim. But I like him because he's a little bit different. He's got those legs and that energy to break from midfield. So when he senses danger, he wins that ball back and he breaks, and he can turn that counter-attacking football in, which is so important in the modern game. So he did okay, but I'm sure he's craving that central position and getting that opportunity there.
Joe, what about the Leeds goal then? Because some fans felt that shouldn't have stood due to a foul on Brozier in the build-up. What were your thoughts on that?
I don't know about that one. I think it's probably 60-40 a foul. I think Brozier has his arm on Cooper there, and I think it's just savvy by Cooper. He realises that he's probably going to lose the foot race with Brozier, so he gets his body in tight. It's a bit risky, but it's not a red card. There's a covering defender there. Llorente's in covering, so he's read the situation pretty well. And I think the issue here is probably that it's not really in the same phase. There's it's on the halfway line, and then obviously Leeds win it back and then go on to score. But I think the play kind of enters a different phase of play. So this was a really tough game to officiate. I think there's so many tackles flying in. Saints and Leeds both high pressing. It was a pretty brutal game, to be honest. So yeah, I think that was really 60-40. Probably a foul, but I can understand why it wasn't pulled back for that, because so much happened after that foul. As I see in the goal, it was just kind of a bit of a mess and chaotic, and that summed up the game, really. So Saints may be unlucky, but Armando Brozier, he causes problems, right? So defenders do not like playing against him, and Cooper did whatever he did to try and stop him, and it worked that time.
Dean, we obviously spoke extensively last weekend about James Ward-Prowse's free kick, but maybe something we didn't quite touch on enough was the run that led to the goal from Kyle Walker-Peters.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And Kyle Walker-Peters has that ability in tight areas. He has that so low centre of gravity. He has very, very good balance when he's running with the ball, and he's very composed. And what he's added to his game is strength. You know, in these areas when he's running at people in those one-on-one situations, he's good at using his body now. And I think you could see from in that moment especially the confidence that having the international call-up and the international appearances would have helped him with. But brilliant, a great run, you know, moving the ball, touching the ball. You always taught that as a younger kid, when the ball's there, touch it, move it off the line, move it to the side, and it was brilliant. And then fantastic free kick from James Ward-Prowse, which was brilliant. And I think Southampton deserved to get back in the game at that point. But Kyle Walker-Peters in that second half took the responsibility individually to take the game to Leeds, and he had some very, very good moments, and he's growing on that left-hand side. Naturally right-footed, but he's growing into that position and doing very, very well at the moment.
I could certainly watch that on loop. I don't know about you. James Ward-Prowse is certainly a special player, isn't he? But team news time now, and we can tell you the Southampton starting 11 is as follows. In goal, it's Fraser Forster. The back four, Tino Livramento, Mohamed Salisu, Jan Bednarek and Carl Walker-Peters. In the midfield, it's our captain James Ward-Prowse and Oriol Romeu. Out wide, Stuart Armstrong and Moy Elianusi. And in the absence of Armando Broja, it's Adam Armstrong who has been given the nod alongside Shay Adams up top. The Southampton substitutes then are as follows. Willie Caballero, Roman Perro, Jan Valery, Jack Stevens, Ibrahima Diallo, Will Smallbone, Nathan Teller, Nathan Redmond and Theo Walcott. Joe, let's come to you first then for your thoughts on this starting 11. We were perhaps expecting a change of formation today, but it seems that Ralph is sticking to that 4-2-2-2 that he loves so much.
Oh, he loves it. So do we as well, to be fair. I think it's good attacking-wise, on the front foot at home, big atmosphere today at St Mary's, and taking the game to Chelsea, which I really like. I think there's the potential there on the bench to potentially go to a 3-5-2. It's not working maybe at half-time, the second half. But, yeah, I like, as Dean mentioned, Adam Armstrong deserves this opportunity. He's done nothing wrong whenever he's been called upon. I think the only thing is he maybe was a bit rusty against Man City because he hasn't been called upon as much as he would have liked to. So this is a big opportunity for him today. And Stuart Armstrong coming back in as an attacking midfielder, the Flying Scotsman. I love him. He just really links up midfield and attack, doesn't he, with those wonderful runs and surging runs forward. And yeah, back four, pretty much the strongest. Maybe a bit harsh again on Roman Perot, but I just think you have to find a way to get Tino in the team and Carl Walker-Peters in the team at the same time. So I would argue, apart from Broja, that is the strongest Saints starting lineup that you could have. So yeah, really like the look at that.
Yeah, Dean, Joe's just said there that Adam Armstrong really deserves this opportunity. How pleasing is it to see him partnering Shay Adams up top?
Yeah, it's great, Kenzie, because I think those two have played well together at times and linked up well together. And Shay has led the line very, very well. And it's great to see Adam get his opportunity. Like I say, he's different to the other two. He's got that explosive power. His movement is very, very clever. He's an intelligent striker. And with Stuart Armstrong coming back into the team, he'll be able to find him with those cute passes or those through balls. So I'm sure that he'll be having conversations before the game and making him very, very aware that look for me. You know, if I make the runs, look for me. And he'll be desperate to get on the score sheet today. And he definitely has that ability. And he always gets the opportunities. And he didn't show it against Man City. And Joe's right, he's a little bit rusty, but he is a clean striker of the ball when he does get those opportunities, as you can see from his goal against Aston Villa and his goal against Everton. So he'll be chomping at the bit, and you know, he works very hard for the team as well, so he's a real team player, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play today. And if he can get a goal, I'm sure he can get a run in the team, and I think he needs that. Every player needs that, just to have that belief and that confidence in yourself that you're not playing on a one-game ratio thinking I have to play well today, otherwise I'm going to get dropped. If he can get himself a goal today and put a performance in, I'm sure it will help him.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing him in action. Well, with kickoff just under an hour away now, let's hear what the fans have to say before the match. Vishnal, hello to you. He says he's feeling a 2-1 win for Southampton today. And James, hope Saints throw the kitchen sink at Chelsea. They're battered and bruised, so why not go for it? Thanks for that one, Ant. Jason Lawson also getting in touch. If Real Madrid can beat them, why can't we? Yeah, love that mentality. Very ambitious. Matt Ashley, good afternoon. No expectation on us today, but I still expect us to win. Samantha Bricknell also getting in touch. Come on, you Saints. And Moses McSimon, thank you for this. Let's go in this one brave, just like Brentford did last weekend. Yeah,
great comments there. Well, earlier in the season, Southampton did lose 3-1 to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Plenty of drama there. There was a red card, penalties, disallowed goals, goal line technology. What a game, Joe. Pretty exhausting to watch, really.
It definitely was. I mean, how long have we got to sum this one up? It could take hours. But yes, Saints obviously went behind early in the first half. And then, as I mentioned previously, they switched at half-time to that different system with three at the back. Worked really well. And Chelsea were absolutely fuming with this no VAR goal that was a foul long before. And then they sort of delayed. And it was a bit of a let-off for Saints, I think, to not go in further behind at the break. But Saints did really recover well from this Chelsea onslaught. But we see here Tino Livramento winning the penalty. And I think the fullbacks here were so good for Saints on this occasion. Walker Peters at left back, and then Livramento, see Ward-Prowse smashing it home. But I think the turning point, right, was Ward-Prowse's red card. At 1-1, Saints were on top. You thought they might go on and actually nick it, but then looking back, it is a red card, right? It caught him high, it was slippery, it was wet. The high press was on. Saints like to do that and be aggressive. But then after that, the game changed. And we can see here Chelsea's class and quality just shone through at the end with a couple of late goals. But there's a lot of respect between Saints and Chelsea, the coaching staffs. Even when you see players like Tino and Armando Broja coming down to Southampton, I think with the tactics that are played, there's a good clash here. It's a good mixture. And even though Chelsea got the edge on this day, I think that recent seasons, Saints have really gone up well against this Chelsea side. And like I said, there's a lot of respect. But yeah, that game was crazy. So hoping for the same kind of game, I guess, from a perspective of a lot of stuff to talk about. But hopefully Saints come out on the winning side today.
And hopefully with 11 players still on the pitch.
Yeah, that would help.
Well, with that red card in mind, Joe, for you it was a red. Dean, after that match, you did say it was 50-50 for you. Do you stand by that? And just how big a turning point was that in that game?
Well, I'm still on the fence, if I'm honest. I know Joe thinks it's a red card, and I can completely understand that and appreciate why you would think it was a red card. But I just think it's more about appreciating the situation of the moment. James Ward-Prowse, I don't feel there's any intent to hurt Jorginho. His feet don't really come off the ground. He uses the surface to try and gain an extra yard, to try and win the ball. He anticipates that Mendy's going to play the ball into the midfield player. But if you look at it, James kind of hesitates for a second, loses half a yard, and I think that's the problem. The reaction from the Chelsea player doesn't help his situation. And then obviously when you go to VAR and you slow it down and you look at it from 2-3 different angles, it's always going to look worse than what it is. So I'm still on the fence of it. I mean, I would have got sent off about 50 times in my career if VAR had been around. But it was a big turning point, I must admit. And I think that was Southampton had just equalised. There was more aggression in terms of pressing Chelsea, more possession of the ball, creating half chances. And I think at that moment in the game, I fancied Southampton to go on to either draw the game or even maybe win the game. But they held on. I think it was probably to the 89th minute where the two goals came, and Chelsea just showed that a little bit of class. And it's difficult to play against such a good team with 10 men, but it did change the game. And as we're seeing it does look quite bad as you look at the replay. But I'm still on the fence. I'll be on James Ward-Prowse's side on it.
Fair enough. Very diplomatic there from you, Dean. It does feel like quite a while, though, since Chelsea have played here at St Mary's. It was back in February last year, a 1-1 draw. Takumi Minamino scoring a goal for the Saints that day, Joe. And I don't mean to sound harsh, but was he a little disappointing during his time at Southampton?
Yes, definitely. Personally, I was at this game. I remember it was an empty stadium, and I think I was speaking to you guys from the press box. And when you saw it happen, this goal here, the moment of quality was just unreal, really. Great pass through, and then the little shimmy and the finish. I mean, this was like, we saw flashes, right, when he was at Saints of what he could do, but he just seemed very rusty after being on Liverpool's bench for a long, long time. He was just finding his feet. And I think, we can see here, he has the quality to finish off chances, make key passes, get in the right areas. But in this particular loan spell, it just felt like the physicality was lacking, especially for him to play for Ralph Hasenhüttl in the high-pressing system. Just winning the ball back high at the pitch, he didn't seem to be well suited to doing that. So I think for Minamino, like any player, great finish. Every time we see it, it gets better. But he needs to play regularly, right? I think at Liverpool now, even this season, he's only playing in cup competitions. He's been linked to Leeds United, potentially moving to them with his connections with Jesse Marsh when he played under him at Salzburg. And it didn't work for Saints long term. I think it probably did him the world of good to get out and play some games. And he went back to Liverpool and obviously worked his way back into their squad. But I just remember that game for an incredible Mustafa defensive display. That was my main memory from that game last season when he was tracking back and doing brilliantly. So Minamino, we had some good moments, but I think it was, like you said, Steve, quite disappointing overall.
Well, Dean, some fans were even calling for Minamino to sign at Southampton, but has Elyounoussi's good form justified the decision not to do that?
100%. I think you look at Elyounoussi, and I think he's been a bit of a surprise for most of us, but he's been very, very effective. I think he's more of a team player. Defensively, he gives you more. I think he'll get you more goals. He's got 4 goals this season, and some of the goals, we've seen the goal against West Ham, is brilliant. They come centrally for him. He makes very, very good midfield runs. His timing of his runs are very, very good. I remember his header against Tottenham, brilliant timing, anticipating the cross coming in, and it's a brilliant header. So I think he's been very, very good, and he gives you that ability to change his shape. He can either play in that kind of wide position or a number 10, or if the manager wants to change shape, he can play centrally and support the front man, or he can play as a midfield player. So again, a player that's at a good age, 27 years of age. He's got lots of ability. So I'm glad, and credit to him, that he's come back to the club and forced his way into the team and been very, very effective. And like, he's still in the team now. He's getting selected ahead of other players. There's lots of competition for that position. But I like him, especially liking that he scores goals from midfield, which is difficult. He looks like a real team player. He looks like the other players appreciate his performances as well. You could argue that Minamino is technically better, is more technical on the eye, as we saw from his goal. But I think it was a good decision by the club.
Well, Chelsea's off-field issues have been well documented, but they're not in the best of spots on the pitch either. They lost to Brentford last weekend 4-1, and then before losing to Real Madrid 3-1 in midweek. So this should really be a routine win for Saints today, Joe.
Well, it should be. I think if they don't win by 5 or 6, I'll be very disappointed. But no, on a serious note, I do watch Chelsea a lot in my role with NBC Sports, because Christian Pulisic, the American boy wonder, plays for them, and there's a lot of focus in the States on Chelsea and how he's doing. So 2 really strange displays, very un-Chelsea displays. Thomas Tuchel's been talking about that in the week, about defensively, just they weren't in the right positions from front to back, and teams could basically just play around their press very, very easily. So, as you mentioned, Steve, I think the uncertainty around the ownership situation, and then kind of a mixture of international players all going away and coming back and then getting straight back into it. There's a lot going on there at Chelsea, but yeah, Tuchel as well, watching the game back against Real Madrid, I saw some funny quotes from him saying that he was stress eating chocolate while he watched the Real Madrid replay in the week. So personally, I hope that he's re-watching this game in a few days' time and gorging on Toblerone or something came back against Saints. But the thing is, though, they've never lost consecutive league games under Tuchel, so they're very good at rectifying mistakes since he's turned up at the club. They're very good away from home as well, very good away form. But that's it. As I mentioned, Saints tactically, I think, match up really well. Tuchel's been praising the high press and then potentially, moving to a 3-5-2. And I think we have to focus on the close links between the clubs, because Hasenhüttl's old assistant from Leipzig, Zolt Low, he's Tuchel's assistant coach now. And I think that they maybe overthink it against Saints sometimes because they know each other really well. But key today for me, controlling the tempo of the game. I'm looking at Chelsea's lineup. It looks like Ruben Loftus-Cheek might be playing right wing back, which is very unfamiliar. So I think, Elyounoussi and Kyle Walker-Peters down that side, if they can get at him early and pin Chelsea in, that's exactly where Real Madrid had a lot of promise down that flank. So yeah, Saints have done okay against Chelsea in recent meetings. 2 losses in the last 6 league games. And I think, as I said, Kyle Walker-Peters and Tino Livramento down those flanks, if they can get on and pin Chelsea's back 3 in, they can have a lot of joy there today. So I'm stacking the odds in Saints' favour, but this will not be easy.
Never did I think I'd have something in common with Thomas Tuchel, but the chocolate thing I can relate to.
Well, if we see him leaving St Mary's with a big duty-free size bar under his arm, we know he's had a bad day.
Job well done. Well, listen, it's score prediction time now. Dean, we will come to you first. Chelsea looking to avoid a 3rd successive defeat. Are you expecting a reaction from them today?
Yeah, I think there'll be a reaction from Chelsea. You look at the squad, the players have got, the manager, the experience he's got, he's a winner. I expect a reaction from the Brentford game more than anything. The Real Madrid game could always go like that, because Real Madrid are Real Madrid, and they have world-class players. So the only thing you can look at that they're going to Real Madrid again on Tuesday night, I believe. So is their focus on that? Do they still see that as the best opportunity to win a trophy this season? I would have thought so. So yeah, it's, Southampton have got an opportunity there. There is some vulnerability defensively for Chelsea, especially when they play that free. If you can counter-attack on them, when possession is turned over, they are a little bit open, which is not like Chelsea. So I'd like to see Southampton be brave today, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw today. I think this will be an entertaining 1-1, but it's a tough fixture. You're still playing Chelsea, so yeah, 1-1 today would be a good result for Southampton.
Okay, 1-1 for Dean then. Joe, let's get your thoughts. I mean, it's Chelsea that have come out on top in both meetings so far this season, but neither meeting has been easy for them. Can Southampton be the winners today, and what's your score prediction?
You know what, I was going to go with 1-1, but I'm going to go with 2-1 to Saints. I just think that there's something in it, like some of the commenters have been saying as well. There's something here where it'll be a tight game, and I just think that Ward-Prowse will have a moment of magic again and will edge it. So I'm going to be very positive. I go 2-1 to Southampton.
Great stuff. Well, Dean, Joe, thank you so much for joining us on Saints Live. Around about 45 minutes to go until kickoff. Chelsea looking to get back to winning ways, but 3 points could put Southampton back into the top half of the Premier League table. Either way, we'll all be back after the match on the final whistle to discuss the game. So enjoy the match, and we'll see you then.
Bye for now.